What it do, dogs? It's your boy the hater up in this mug. And I was at an establishment doing some work, and I heard that Jack Harlow song. You know, the I don't like no whips and chains. You can tie me down. Da-da-da-da, loving on me, baby. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell has happened to modern music? Specifically rap, but modern music in general. Like this dork, this douchebag, Jack Harlow out there singing like he's cool. You know what I mean? Then I put on my headphones. I went on Spotify on my own playlist. I typed Yin Yang Twins and I heard some good music. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Yin Yang Twins? That's not real hip hop. You should listen to Talib Kweli. No, the hater doesn't listen to boring ass shit. The hater likes good, fun music, right? And that's what Jack Harlow is trying to do. And that's what the Yin Yang Twins did much more effectively. And honestly, they were just much cooler dudes, right? So after this preview to this video, it's time for the topic at hand, right? The complete stagnation of good music. We have a bunch of jobbers making uncool songs for uncool people. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? We got a couple of good ones here and there. That Morgan Wallen guy makes a decent song once in a while, but it's the same bullshit, you know, pop country music where some guy puts on like this weird southern accent and talks about like the same 5 things. You know what I mean? What happened to cool things, motherfucks? What happened to Nelly? You know what I mean? Remember Nelly? Remember him, cuckolds? Remember, hey, must be the money. How great was that, right? Remember old Eminem? That was good. You know, now new Eminem has to tiptoe around everything, and everything is just lame and whack. You know what I mean? Now within this, we have a bunch of people that are actually good musicians. Like Beyonce, I'm coming around to her because she did that country music album. I heard some of it. It was pretty good. You know what I mean? And like that just shows that she has some sort of versatility. But think about the heroes that we're making, you know. The hater grew up on Mariah Carey, cuckolds. The hater grew up on beautiful women with amazing voices. And now what do we got? You know what I mean? We got Taylor Swift, I guess. People say she's attractive. I find her to be a little weird looking for my tastes, but what do I know? You know what I mean? With her horseshit, same song nonsense, right? And like, as the hater is a man of the people, the hater tries to pinpoint the flip, right? When these things changed. And like, while I can respect Lady Gaga as a musician, I am reminded of what a great man named Patrice O'Neal said, you know? Lady Gaga and all these people that are not making music anymore just to make music, right? Like Lady Gaga will go in front of like a group of concert goers and just talk to them about issues that pertain to like the situation, right? So she'll go to like Mexico, let's say, and she'll be like, you know, we need to tear down the wall and stop immigration, right? And then afterwards, you know what I mean? She'll go back right to her horse shit, blah, blah, man, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Leave it at that, right? It reminds me of this Joe Coy bit that I saw. I don't like Joe Coy, but this bit was great where he's talking about like mumble rap and then he plays Biggie afterwards and the whole crowd loses their mind, right? Because it's actually good music versus shit music, you know what I mean? And we have a bunch of dorks nowadays making music. Now, while the music industry has benefited significantly from the fact that, you know, the barriers to entry are much lower now, right? Back in the day, you were a rapper, you can watch the movie 8 Mile and it profiles it pretty well. You were a rapper, you needed studio time. And if you're poor, you don't have the money for studio time, right? You don't have the money to hire a producer. Then even if you do, then what are you going to do? You're going to go and sell your CDs in the parking lots? That's not going to work, right? But that's how they did it back in the day, right? That's how they did it. You needed a big break. Nowadays, with the internet, you don't need a big break. Think of it this way, cucks. 20, 30 years ago, the hater cannot do what he does. The hater would have to go and like be all, you know, politically correct and kosher for TV and be there and, you know, be acceptable and then maybe work really hard and get a talk show that may or may not fail. And if that works out on like bullshit like, you know, that TV that you watch at night, then maybe one day you could become a talk show host. But not anymore, cucks. The internet has democratized everything, right? Which is obviously, the hater's not gonna, the hater would be a hypocrite if he said otherwise, which is obviously a very good thing. However, as a result of this, we also get a lot of garbage, right? We get a bunch of these dorky ass rappers, right? Talking about dorky ass shit, you know what I mean? Rap music specifically is supposed to be one of the only masculine forms of music. It's basically that and country. Everything else is kind of feminine, right? Like if you're gonna listen to John Legend, that cuckold John Legend, or like Justin Timberlake, that's like sissy music. Now, don't get me wrong. The hater does have some Justin Timberlake on his Spotify. He might even have a John Legend here and there, right? But the hater loves music. And many other people do, of course, right? But the hater understands that that's for like a certain mood. That's like how it plays randomly, right? When the hater goes to the gym, the hater's listening to Hollywood Undead. The hater's listening to like Johnny Cash. The hater's listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony. The hater isn't listening to this sissy-ass crap, right? But now everything is sissy-ass crap. Think about the lyrics that we're forced to listen, you know? Like, I don't like the whips and chains, but you can tie me down. You can put your loving on me, baby. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool, man. You know? Compare that to the Yin Yang Twins, which goes a little bit something like this. No money, no honey, no cash, no ass, no luce, no coochie, so don't even ask. No finance, no romance, no dope, no hope. If you ain't got no bread, then you can't go to bed. Yup. You know what I'm saying? How cool was that back in the day? So, the hater decided to make this video as a result of listening to these disparate music tracks, right? The reality is we need music and society to be cool again. Now, I understand that the proportion of cool people is basically like 1% at this point, but they're still there, motherfuckers. They're still there. But all the cool people that exist are like old cool people, right? Like Kid Rock's still cool. You know, I know people don't like him now. They've retconned him as a racist. Fun fact, Kid Rock as a child who's black. You know what I mean? Oh, but it doesn't mean he's not a racist. Yes, it does, cuts. Yes, it does. Because if you're willing to be close enough to people of a race that you supposedly hate to the point where you have children with them, then it must mean that you don't hate them on a deep racist-based level. You know? And also, there's no evidence that he's racist at all. So, but he's like still making music, right? Eminem has to come back and bring back the Slim Shady persona to bring something presentable back to the milieu, right? Every Christmas, Mariah Carey's songs hit the charts because she still is the gold standard of Christmas music, right? You look at the things that we grew up with, motherfucks. Some of it is nerd shit. Some of it is cool, like Pokemon. Nerd shit, but it's cool nerd shit, right? What does this generation have in that regard, right? Who is this generation's Eminem? Who is this generation's Mariah Carey? Who is this generation's Johnny Cash? What is this generation's Pokemon, right? What do you got? You got nothing. What, the Avengers movies? Oh, Iron Man is back as Dr. Doom. Is he? You're in your 30s, cucks. It's time to stop cheering for superheroes. How cringe was that shit? They, like, Robert Downey Jr. takes off his mask to reveal that it's Robert Downey Jr. and people act like something amazing happened. Now, I like Robert Downey Jr., but let's not get it twisted. This is a silly movie franchise, mostly for kids. Now, you can like it all you want, just like the haters excited for the next Pokemon game, cuckolds, but it doesn't change the fact. The facts are, there's nothing cool for kids anymore. There's nothing cool for adults, that's for sure, you know what I mean? What is there to watch? What is there to do? This is part of this new society that we have where everything is boring. They don't want you to do anything. They don't want you to have fun. That's why we have a bunch of people now, for like the first time in recorded history, like teenage sex, which is probably a good thing, has gone down, right? Because now we got all these people that are like, they're pansexuals or they're asexuals, and they don't know which bathroom to go to, and everyone's confused, so like nobody's having sex anymore, which again is a good thing because you don't want teenage pregnancies. But it also is a proxy to show how sanitized everything has become, right? And this connects to wrestling because the 90s, which were obviously the height of human development and achievement, in my opinion, right, was the opposite of that, right? It was like you couldn't go 5 feet without someone looking at you and saying, suck it, you know what I'm saying? That stuff was cool. And think about how cool wrestling was back then too, right? Wrestling was actually mainstream. Now, the whole world is a bunch of Cody Rhodeses. Rap is a bunch of Cody Rhodeses. Movies are a bunch of Cody Rhodeses. This low effort, entitled bullshit, right? Oh, here's the 19th Thor movie. You're gonna watch it because you got nothing else to do, right? You think people would give a flying fuck about Thor if, like, in the theaters next week was like Con Air or The Rock, the movie The Rock, not the actor, you know what I'm saying? Or like Shawshank Redemption or The Green Mile or any Morgan Freeman movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody would give a rat's ass about any of this. We don't have any action heroes. We We don't have any cool celebrities anymore. Everyone's a dork. You see like LeBron and Kevin Durant, you see them before the game, they're wearing like fucking sheriff's hats, and a bunch of other goofy shit. And meanwhile, you have like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal with Ernie and Kenny over there, like 4 dudes that are like real dudes, especially Shaq and obviously Charles, who are like, you know, they're like premier athletes. You know, they're just like cool dudes. They've been cool forever, right? And like you hear the disdain with which Charles Barkley talks about these jobbers. Like, what the fuck's that guy wearing? You know what I'm saying? Like, who would wear this? You know, Charles Barkley represents that 80s and 90s, mostly the 90s, that edge, right? That edge that we desperately need, but we don't have. So until then, cucks, get ready for another Jack Harlow song, right? It isn't since French Montana that I've asked myself the question of how the fuck did this guy make it? This music is 100% pure garbage. And I can't blame it on Lady Gaga, but everything after that is just manufactured horse shit. Nobody cares. Like, you could put a gun to my fucking head and let me listen to an Olivia Rodrigo song and a fucking Ariana Grande song, and you put a gun to my head and you say, hater, I'll give you $1 million or otherwise I'm shooting you. Which one's which? I would have no fucking clue. Ariana Grande is like one of the biggest musicians of all time. I don't even know one song she sings. Taylor Swift, I know like maybe 2 from the early ones, right? And even now, I can't think of a name, right? I like you know what I mean? I know them like as tunes. I know that like 22, ooh, you know that one? And then also, look what you made me do. Like, that's the only ones that I know, you know? And also this one. Yeah, you all of y'alls are getting hater on the mic today, right? You're getting haters singing, you know what I'm saying? What's that one where Taylor Swift is like, cause it's late and your mama don't know. Like, what the fuck happened to that? She was like this country girl, cause it's late and your mama don't know, and now she's like a normal person again. You know what I mean? Like these fucking bunch of phonies out there presenting themselves as cool people, but that's why they don't resonate as cool. Now, to the Gen Z and Generation Alpha demographic, like, you can give them like fucking horse shit and be like, oh, this is cool. They're like, oh, this is cool, you know? Like Harry Potter is another example, you know what I mean? I remember when that shit came up and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, apparently the books are amazing. I never read them, but like, I couldn't believe it. I was in like 5th grade maybe. Harry Potter became a thing all of a sudden. I'm like, what's it about? They're like, it's about a wizard. And I'm like, oh. In my head immediately, I envisioned like a nerd with glasses, right? And like, they show me the cover and it's a nerd with glasses. I'm like, oh, this is the most stereotypical shit ever, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he has a cousin who abuses him named Dudley. I'm like, let me guess, is Dudley a fat bastard? Apparently he is, right? Then later on, because my friend forced me to watch the movie one time, not forced me, we were at a place and they played, it was movie night at this hookah bar, and they played Harry Potter, and my friend's like, oh, you gotta watch this, and we watched it because we had no choice. And in the end, like, of the first movie, like, basically, like, the Harry Potter people are gonna lose some nerd competition, some witch and wizardry competition, and I'm like, let me guess, the annoying dorky one is gonna come through, he's gonna come in clutch, like fucking Steph Curry, right? My friend was like, yeah, and then in the end, they're like, I'll never forget this, they're like, Neville Longbottom gets like 5 points or whatever for, you know, House Griffin Man or whatever the fuck it's called, right? And like, I remember thinking, I'm like, Neville Longbottom? What the fuck? That just sounds like the name of a victim, doesn't it? That just sounds like the name of someone you throw inside a locker in high school. Oh, there goes Neville Longbottom. As Jim Norton once said, Neville Longbottom, was he molested by Uncle Longcock? With that being said, this is the end of this rant. Cuckolds!